All right. Hello and welcome to our quarterly workshop here with the Worcester Polka Dot Powerhouse. Today we have our guest, Caterina Rondo, and she is going to be sharing with us how to bliss more in our business and life. Caterina is on a mission to teach, mentor, and support women to do their thing and to serve their people and massively monetize their mastery. She shows women entrepreneurs how to be loud and proud about the value they bring in order to make their business thrive. Her clients grow, shine, expand, open themselves up to new possibilities, and take their businesses further than ever before. Caterina is all about positivity, integrity, generosity, community, and providing massive value while uplifting others. She is a sought-after speaker, event producer, and author, and we are so happy to have her join us today.
Bing, bing, bing. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks for inviting me. Happy to be with you. My friends, before we dive in and talk about blissing in your business and your life, Stephanie, we've talked a few times before, but I want to get an update from you, what's going on in your life. And Wendy, I want to meet you a little bit more and get a little info on you and what's going on in your life. And so, of course, give me the usual intro, but also I want to hear where you're blissing in your life, where you maybe not blissing so much, and that's business and life. Okay. Stephanie, you want to start since you're unmuted?
Sure. So as you know, I'm a holistic esthetician, and I have a room in Worcester where I do the skincare, but I also do virtual consultations and whatnot. This year has been a little bit of a challenge. Kind of started out really slow. Also just kind of got just had some things that kind of pulled me back a little. So as far as the private coaching business has been going, it's been very slow. Spa itself is doing okay. But the really exciting news is that Wendy Tudowski and I have decided to start a podcast. So we've started recording our podcast that we're going to launch in the fall. So that's kind of like the new exciting thing. I also feel like my business, as far as what I'm sharing and how I share it, is shifting as well. So I think I'm embracing my oils, my essential oils a little bit more as far as really educating on that, because I feel like I've always used it as a tool, but suddenly there's a lot of people asking questions about that. So that's kind of a shift, you know.
Great. What's your podcast going to be on?
It's sorry, it's called Smiling Souls, and it's really for like that 40 plus woman that is, you know, maybe as a caretaker of some sort, and kind of maybe in this, as Wendy calls it, the sandwich generation of being a mom and a caring for a parent, you know, and then work and all the things, you've got all the things going and just need a little laughter, a little fun, and maybe some tools to help make it a little more joyful in life.
Awesome. Stephanie, are you a caregiver for someone?
I mean, I have a son, a 9-year-old son, and at some point I envision I will be for my mom and dad, but it's not, they're fine now.
Good. My mom and dad are 91 and 92, and
Nice.
they are fine. And they have each other. And we'll see what happens down the road.
Right.
But yeah.
Exactly. But you can't help but worry still, because they're your mom and dad,
No,
right?
it's true. I gave my dad a magnet. It says, call your daughter. She worries about you. Yes. Well, good. Well, always blessing to be with you, Stephanie.
Same
And
here.
Wendy, happy to be with you. Tell me a little bit about you and your life.
Thank you. Happy to be here as well. So, my life. So I am a this is always a tough question for me. I'm like, who am I now? I have 2 kids. So I'm a mom and I am a retired physician assistant and retired professional bodybuilder, and now really focusing more on nutrition consulting and maybe stepping into, well, I will be doing more, it's seasonal work, seasonal coaching work around posing and
Okay.
competition
Okay.
presentation. And I would like to get into public speaking. And that's where I am right now.
Okay. And when you say public, excuse me, when you say public speaking, is it for your industry of bodybuilding, or is it more for nutrition, or what do you want to talk about?
I think, thank you for asking. I think it's starting off with nutrition for fitness groups and
Okay.
not specifically bodybuilding,
Uh-huh.
but at like small gyms. And
Okay.
then eventually we're incorporating some inspiration or motivational or whatever.
Okay. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Well, good. Well, happy to be with you, Wendy.
Thank you.
And let's take a deep breath. Ah. I've been doing my thing for about 31 years now. And what my thing is serving women on a mission, women that feel like their business is their mission. What I have found is that a lot of times women, we put so much into our business that our self-care suffers, or we really focus on having a really full life and our business suffers. It's really important to, and I don't like the word balance, I would say find that rhythm that supports us in enjoying both in our life. I'm going to start today by talking to you about some Bliss zappers, okay? And I want you to listen to these zappers, and I want you to ask yourself if these Bliss zappers are a challenge for you. And also, are they a little bit of a challenge, or are they really maybe the challenge that is interfering? Now, before we talk about Bliss zappers, let's talk a little bit about what bliss is to you. And I'm gonna tell you something very interesting. So one of the things I do is I pay attention to what I call mastery. Okay, you can do something, you can even do it good, you can do it well, you can do it very well, but are you masterful at it? And I would imagine that you both have areas of your life and things that you do that you are so masterful at. And what is mastery? It's when you're doing something easily, you're doing it very well, you're doing it without a lot of preparation, like for a speech. You don't have to spend 10 hours, you spend 5 minutes. You're blissing while you're doing. Now, I feel that mastery and bliss go very much together. Because if you think about what you're really good at, you probably are blissing while you're doing that, right? And it probably doesn't take a lot of preparation, and you don't have to think about it too much. It's more of a grab and go. And those are even some skills that you might have picked up a long time ago. Like, I love to roller skate. And even though I haven't roller skated in a long time, if I put on a pair of skates, it just comes right back, right? And I'm blissing. So I want you to see the connection between mastery and bliss. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about bliss zappers. The first one is pursuing perfection. And you may or may not think of the word perfection, but maybe you've said to yourself, it has to be perfect, or it has to be just right, or it has to be exactly the way I want it to be. Well, those are all ways of saying it has to be perfect. And part of that is our vanity, that we want things to look good. But part of it is fear of embarrassment, fear of what other people will think if it doesn't work out, fear of exposure and being vulnerable. All comes under that perfection. Now, how would you know? What would be some indicators that this is one of your bliss zappers? If you're finding that you are not making decisions easily because you're thinking about all the possible things that could go wrong. You are making the decision, but you're not taking action. You decided you want to do it, but you always seem to be in the getting ready to get ready to begin to think about getting going. And it never launches. There's always one more thing to do before you get going. That might be your bliss zapper. Okay, next one. This is with the perfection, that getting ready to get ready part. I'm going to give you an example. Hema is a lovely woman. She teaches yoga, and she was with me at a workshop. I was giving a seminar, all-day seminar a while back on how to do women's retreats. One of my favorite things that I love to teach because I like to take women on retreats. And so Hema comes up to me at the break and she says, Caterina, I really like this idea. I want to do a one-day yoga retreat with women empowerment and self-care. I'm going to do one-day retreat at my house. She has a beautiful house. And she said, I'm going to do it in 6 months. I said, no, my friend, you're going to do it in 6 weeks. Because she was a woman of action, I knew she would consider my proposal. And she did her retreat in 6 weeks. Now, what happened after she did her retreat? She was blissing. And by the time 6 months had rolled around, she had done 6 retreats. Now, I share this with you because not only did she have 6 times more revenue, she had 6 times more mastery at doing her retreat. And so I want you to look at this. Is this something that gets in your way? Because we have this belief that I have to have it all figured out before I get started. But the truth is, it is in doing our whatever it is that we learn how to do whatever it is. And we master and we move, or we move more towards mastery with whatever it is. So think about that one. Maybe it's not perfection, but maybe it's getting ready to get ready. Okay, here's the next one. Now I'm going to tell you what it ended. Well, the next one is not managing our disappointment. There is going to be disappointment du jour in business. Sheila said she was going to get back to you. She was ready to get started. I'll call you Wednesday, 10 o'clock. And Sheila's nowhere to be found Wednesday, 10 o'clock. That's disappointment, right? Or somebody doesn't show up for their call or their appointment. That's disappointment. Those are little disappointments, but sometimes they knock us off kilter. And sometimes there's big disappointments. And we have to cultivate the ability to take our disappointment and turn it into determination. And part of, so this relates to our mindset. And in all the things we talk about in business and life, mindset is one of the most important things to be blissing in your business and your life. Because life will have ups and downs. It's how you are with those ups and downs that impacts your level of bliss and fulfillment. And it also impacts your action. I remember, so one of the things I do is I do something called the Bliss Retreat for Women Leaders on a Mission. Our next one is in November. And there's this lovely gal who's come with me before. And a while back, she said, oh, Caterina, I'm so sorry I can't come on the Bliss Retreat. She'd come before. She loves it. She said, you know what? I'm going to go to Ireland with my daughter this year. I said, okay, well, my friend, I said, and by the way, here's what I always say. Is it okay if I circle back to you as we get closer? And she said, well, yeah, but I'm going to Ireland with my daughter. So then one day I'm doing my thing and it's getting closer and closer to the Bliss Retreat. and one other gal calls me and she cancels. Now, let me tell you something. This is very disappointing. First of all, because we're close and we're doing a lot of preparation, and now so-and-so's not coming. There would have been a time when I would have been depresso about that, and I would have let it ruin my whole day and maybe my whole week. But these days, I ask myself more powerful questions. And this relates to our mindset, right? So when something happens, do we say to ourselves, sorry for me? Or do we say, how can I turn this around? And even if you don't know the answer, simply asking yourself the question, how can I turn this around? Your brain and your subconscious will start to think about how you can turn it around. And in fact, in coaching, there's something we call inquiry questions. An inquiry question is a question you keep asking yourself over and over, even when you don't know what the result is going to be. How can I generate more revenue? Where's my next client coming from? How can I uplift my self-care? How can I improve my attitude? These are all powerful questions that support us to bliss more in our business and our life. Now, what happens though, is sometimes we say to ourselves, what's wrong with me? Well, that's not a very powerful question, right? Or how come this keeps happening to me? Other questions that no matter what the answer is, it's not a good answer. And begin to look at how you are, and I'll call it self-talk or self-coaching with yourself. So on this day when so-and-so cancels, and I said to myself, how can I turn it around? My friend Anastasia popped in my head, and I saw her getting on her trip to Ireland with her daughter. But you know what I did? I picked up the phone and I called her. And it had been a few months. And I said, hey, my friend, I know that you said you were not going to join us for a Bliss retreat. I'm circling back to see if you're open to that conversation at this time. And I shouldn't say of course, but she said to me, my daughter decided she doesn't want to go to Ireland with me this year. I'm not going to Ireland, and let's talk about going on the Bliss retreat. And of course, she did come on the Bliss retreat. Now, I share that with you because there sometimes is fear in going back to people and saying, I know you said no, but can't we talk about it again? All right. But in my experience, I will tell you that about 20 to 30% of the time, and sometimes 40, depends, when I circle back, I get the yes. Because timing does matter. And people are thinking about something, but they just haven't gotten there yet. Okay. Well, you'll have to join me for a sales class where we'll talk more about all that. Okay. But here's what I want you to get. The self-talk is huge. And that is an important part of managing our disappointment. And when I have a gal, a client or potential client, and I talk to her on Monday, and she's talking to me about a big disappointment. Oh my gosh, I just lost a big contract, blah, blah, blah. And then I talk to her 2 weeks later, and she's still talking about that same contract she lost. I'm talking to her a month later, still talking about it. Okay. This is a gal that needs to upgrade her mindset, because we can't fix yesterday. We can, if she said to herself, well, okay, how do I replace that contract? And how do I get one even better? And she kept looking at that for the whole month and kept asking herself, she would get a solution. So how do you do with all that? Because that is a big bliss zapper. Okay, here's the last one. We could talk about more, but we're going to leave it after this one. Okay. And I'm going to ask you what zapper you feel might be up for you. Okay. The last one is You got way too many things on your plate. Now, believe me, I absolutely subscribe to the adage, if you want something done, ask a busy woman to do it. Yes, I absolutely subscribe to that. However, you will be discouraged, you will be overwhelmed, you will be stressed out when you have so much on your plate that nothing is going extremely well and you're not blissing anywhere. Are you following me, my friends? And so when we talk about responsibility, sometimes we want to share more responsibility. Sometimes we want to get more support for responsibility. Let me share with you. I went to a conference some time ago, and I'm getting ready for my conference in the morning, and it's Arizona, Sedona. Nice, warm climate. And if you've been to Sedona, beautiful red rocks and cactus. And I'm in my hotel room and I'm on the ground floor. I open the door to let in some breeze and I'm getting dressed. And then I go and I see by the sofa, I see this little black something. And I think maybe it's a hair clip. I go closer to try to grab it. And I see that it is, in fact, a black scorpion. And now I'm a woman of action. So I walk over to the bar, I grab a glass. I'm about to go like this on top of the scorpion. And then this little voice says in my head, Caterina, do you have expertise in catching scorpions? Well, no. Have you ever caught a scorpion? No. And then this other voice said, you might want to get some help. And how many times as women do we just power through rather than get some help? Call the front desk, gentleman came, and guess what? He had experience in catching scorpions. He was, in fact, quite the expert. And within a few minutes, he scooped up the scorpion and put it back in its natural environment out the back door. I share that with you because if I had tried to catch that scorpion, it could have been a complete disaster. It would have least stressed me out emphatically, even if I did have success in scooping it up and putting it out. And how many times in life do we just say, okay, well, I'm just going to do it, figure it out. And with your website maybe, or your bookkeeping, or I get so distressed when women tell me they're editing their own podcasts and videos. Okay. Here's a guiding principle. If you don't want to master something, don't do it. Okay. Now, Stephanie, I'm talking to you as you're getting ready for your podcast. Do you want to be a master audio editor? And if the answer is no, please don't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't want to be a master at a graphic design, don't be fooling around with Canva for hours. If you don't want to be a master at websites, don't be doing that. Trying to update your own thing all the time. Because why? Okay, and let me say it to you this way, and then we're going to get back to your zappers. You got 5 jobs: speaking, selling, serving, strategy, and self-care. And with that, we're gonna come back to that. Let's go back to the zappers. So which zapper do you feel is your most, let's say it this way, the zapper that might most be zapping your bliss? Is it being responsible for too much, not managing your disappointment, getting ready to get ready, or pursuing perfection?
I've definitely been guilty of all.
Okay.
Um,
We look right now.
maybe too much.
Too much. Okay. Okay, good. We're going to come back to that, Stephanie. Good that you have identified it. We can put more attention on that. Okay, good. Wendy, what are your thoughts?
I think mine right now is pursuing perfection because I feel like I need a finished product before I start doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta have the everything together before I talk to anybody.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I told you about the Bliss retreat, right? So here's what I do when I want to do something new, Wendy. I just put together a Word document. Hey, here's the price. Here's what you're gonna get. Don't even do my fancy website yet. And I make a list of gals I think might be interested. And then I reach out to them and they get what I call the pre-publication price. And that's something you may both want to consider. Okay. So I say, you know what? The website's not ready yet. We don't have all the bells and whistles, but I thought you would be interested. So I'm going to invite you to take a look at this with me. And you're going to get the pre-publication, which means even lower than the introductory price. Do you want to hear about it? And when I first started doing, I started doing a retreat on how to do retreats. That's what I did because I didn't know, is anybody going to be interested? So before I invested in my website and on my fancy brochure at the time, we had a fancy brochure, I just started talking to gals and several of them signed up before we even launched the program. Okay. So that's one of the solutions for pursuing perfection is just let people know. And you know what I did, Wendy, the first time I did a program on how to do retreats was I said to the gals, you're getting the pre-publication price. So it's not going to be perfect. There might be a few things we need to work out. And also I have a train the trainer program for women on how to teach selling. And the same thing, I said, okay, we've got the workbook, we've got the training, we've got the course, but it's not going to be perfect. And then at the training, I got one of my gals, I said, okay, make a notation. We're going to add this, make a notation. Okay. And that was fine because they all knew they got the super discounted price. Okay. So acknowledge, hey, it's not going to be perfect and it's still going to be awesome. Okay, good. Okay. So, Wendy, perfection for you. Stephanie, remind me which one you said. Was it
Too much.
Too much. That's what I thought. Too much. Okay. Okay. So let's now talk about too much. So we talked a little bit right here about perfection. Let's talk a little bit about too much. Okay. So remember I just said you got 5 jobs. Now let's look at those 5 jobs. Okay. When I say speaking, I mean in the broad sense of the word. You're the spokesperson for your business, right? Stephanie, you're not going to have a celebrity spokesperson talk about your stuff. It's going to be you, right? Okay, Wendy, you're going to do the nutrition talk. You're not going to invite someone else to do it. You're the one who's going to be in the photos and the videos, right? This is you, okay? So you're the spokesperson. So in the broad sense of speaking. Then there is strategy. You're the one who decides what the goals are. You're the one that decides what the offers are, right? All that CEO stuff, that's you under you because it's your business, right? So we've got the speaking, we've got the strategy. And then of course, there's the selling. Unless you have a cubicle of gals with headsets, making reach outs and booking appointments for you. Anybody got that? No, okay. So that's you, right? You acknowledge that that's you. So speaking, strategy, selling, and then there's serving the clients. If Wendy's doing some coaching on posing for the gals, she's not going to send her assistant to do it, right? She got to do it herself. That's the important part. That's what I'm hiring Wendy. I don't want her to send her assistant to help me, right? So we've got the speaking, the selling, the strategy, the serving of the clients. And then the last one is self-care. Now, self-care, that's a huge job in and of itself. We got to exercise, we got to eat right, we got to get enough sleep, right? All this stuff. And let's not even start with the beautification. Okay, we got to make sure we're looking good, right? That takes time too. So do you see though that that is a lot right there? Okay. And so I want to encourage you, and that's why I told you about the scorpion, is that, you know, where in your life are you trying to wrangle scorpions instead of do your 5 jobs? Okay. And now here's what happens. Stephanie, Wendy, gals say to me, well, Caterina, that's nice for you because you got a few bob. If we were in England, they would say, if you got a few bob, you could pay somebody to do this and that. I'm not there yet with my business. What's the answer? Sweetheart, go sell something. Okay. Now, you might say, well, Caterina, it's easy for you to say because you teach selling. Here's what I want you to get. You got to master these 5 jobs. Okay. Doesn't matter how amazing you are if you can't invite people to be your client. Doesn't matter how amazing you are if you don't have systems to make sure nobody falls through the cracks when you get a referral. Doesn't matter how amazing you are if nobody knows you exist. Okay? So these are not just 5 things to do. These are 5 things to master. And so in our conversation today about blissing in your business and blissing in your life, recognize that mastery is required to bliss in your business and your life. Self-care, in my opinion, it could be a full-time job just on its own. I had my hip replaced about 10 weeks ago. Recovery is phenomenal. As soon as I knew I had to get my hip replaced, hired a gal to help me 3 times a week. We work out. I have my vibe plate. I have my trampoline. I have my recumbent bike. I have my treadmill. Got a lot of stuff to help me to make sure I move my fanny and do my stuff so I have good strength in my body. Okay. Got to make sure I'm 132 ounces of water. That's a lot of water. That takes a lot of time to drink all that water. I don't do it. I don't get there. 90 ounces of protein. That's a lot of work to do all this. Okay. Wendy knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Stephanie, you know too, right? There's a lot of stuff to do. So my point is, and we've got to get really good at it too. So where are you having attention on stuff that you really don't want to master? And where can you get some support so that you have more time for what you do have to master? Now, our friend Malcolm Gladwell, who wrote the book Outliers, he would say 10,000 hours. You want to be a master? It takes 10,000 hours. Now, I'm going to tell you that I think that is not bliss. That is depresso number, 10,000. Would you agree, my friends? 10,000. Okay. But guess what? The beautiful thing is every hour in is 1 hour closer to mastery. And I will tell you, the challenge with mastery is the closer you get, the more it moves, because there's another 25 levels of mastery. But the thing is, as soon as you begin to feel really good about these different things, then you're blissing more in your business and your life. So this, I'm going to call it a guiding principle, okay? This guiding principle of only do what you seek to master, I want you to pay more and more attention to that in your life. Because if you find I had a guy come and do the backyard. You know, I got these new neighbors and their backyard looks so fabulous. And I was having backyard envy, okay? Because their backyard's right next to mine, and I can see their whole backyard because I have a deck and they have a deck. And so I see the whole thing and it looks fabulous. And so I'm having backyard envy. So I hire the guy to, get the weeds and plant the stuff. And then he says to me, okay, Caterina, and here's everything you got to do. He's got these nice long list. Here's everything you got to do to upkeep this backyard. Okay. You got to, every 2 weeks, you got to pull the weeds. You got to water every week. You got to go around, take all the stuff off that, the dry. You got to make sure there's no vermin getting in. You got to check this, check that, so they don't ruin the plants. Okay. Oh my God, there's a lot. I tried it for about 1 week and I said, no, I'm hiring the dude to come do it twice a month because that is not a good use of my time.
Mhm.
Are you following me, my friends?
Mhm.
So where in your life are you doing what you don't seek to master, that you can get some support? And you know what? I also find that as women, we want to be so much of service that we're not spending enough time on selling. And I want to ask you if you would agree with that for you.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your honesty, because here's what I want to say. The more attention you put on selling, the more masterful you get at selling. And the more masterful you get at selling, the more you have what I call financial surplus, which means you're covering your operating expenses, you're paying yourself, you have money to run your business, but then you have extra. You have extra for a rainy day or for our next pandemic, or which hopefully won't be for another 150 years, but you've got extra. And then if somebody says to you, hey, you want to do XYZ? And you want to do XYZ? You can do XYZ because you have the resources. Or you want to take a day off. Or you want to go somewhere and do something. Or you want to invest more in yourself or your business. So I want to encourage you to pursue financial surplus, because I have seen over the many years of serving all the ladies that the biggest stressor we face is financial lack, not stressing about paying our bills. And one of the things I want to encourage you to do is become masterful at your numbers. So every week, how much came in the door? How much is projected to come in the door? And look at the next several months, at least once a month, if not every week. Okay, I'm good this month. How am I next month? How am I next month? How am I the month after? Mary Jane and Sheila, their package runs out in 2 months. Do I have new clients to replace them?
Mhm.
Okay. Or this income over here is going away. What am I going to do to not only replace that, but have more? And so the more masterful we become at our numbers, the more we will get better at managing that. And I'm going to also, even though this is not the sales class, I'm going to say, I encourage the women in my sales classes to be talking to at least 12 people a week about working with you. Now, the thing is, some of those are more connection calls, just seeing if there's a match or even there is a need. And then there's the consideration call where they're actually considering and maybe hearing about your options. And then there's the closing call. The bigger the investment, I find the more time people need and the more things they have to talk about. Not everybody. Some people are Insta clients. But how many gals are you talking to a week? To take a look at this. And Wendy, this is where our monthly workshop comes in. I want to make sure that you are both doing at least once a month, if not twice a month, a workshop, so you always have something to invite people to, where you can showcase your massive value. Because nobody's going to Wendy's workshop on how to improve your posing for competition if they're not interested in improving their posing for competition. right? Okay. Nobody's coming who's not interested in that. And Stephanie, the same thing for you. Nobody's coming to uplift your life through essential oils if they're anti-essential oils, right? And they're not coming to how to look great every day, whatever, for skincare, whatever you're doing, if they're not interested, or if they already have a situation they love. Are you vibing, my friends? Okay, so let's take a moment and think about which of these 5 areas it would serve you. It would serve you, meaning you're going to bliss more in your business and your life to put more attention on one of those 5. And I'm going to ask you in this way, which would it serve you to put more attention on mastering or moving towards mastery in that area? Anybody got an answer?
Selling.
Selling. Okay, bing, bing, bing. Great. Okay, Stephanie, how about you?
Same.
Okay. So here's what I want to say. I'm in a couple weeks, I have a workshop on using speaking in workshops to get clients. And that will also be a little bit about selling. I'm also going to send you both, if you would like, my most recent workshop on achieving sales bliss. Would that be helpful? Okay, I will do that because, and guess what, Stephanie and Wendy? That's what a lot of gals say. Because again, we are focused on the service, right? Let me provide outstanding service. But we want to get more gals in the door so we can provide more outstanding service and bliss more in our business and our life. Okay, let's take a deep breath. And any other, so think about what else has been an aha for you today, or what else has been, okay, I'm going to put some attention on this. Go ahead, Wendy.
I'm so grateful that you said, don't be spending time editing your podcasts.
Yeah.
That was the big thing that was a road blocker to my coach and I wanting to do a podcast.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's a lot of gals. I got gals all over the place who are helping other gals edit their podcasts. That's their business. Okay. And there's even, I have a podcast called Expand Your Fempire. We've done over 150 episodes, and we use Descript, which is software, but guess what? I don't know how to use it. Okay. I got a gal. That's what she does. She knows how to use it. All right. And it works pretty well and pretty quickly, and it does the transcripts and all that. But you know what? What's my job? What's your job, Wendy? You're the talent, right? I like to say you're the Beyonce of your business. Okay. You're the talent. And that's your job. And believe me, that's enough of a job. Recording the content. Okay. I'm good at scheduling the interviews, scheduling time to record my own content. That's a bit more of a challenge. So that's enough for you. And then let's get some support on the back end. If you need any gals to help you with your podcast, let me know. I've got some great gals. And remember, you're the Beyonce of your business. Okay, my friends? Very, very important. You're the talent. Beautiful. Thank you, Wendy. Stephanie, what's been aha for you in our time together?
Probably just really thinking about how important it is to master all those 5 things, the 5 jobs.
Okay, good. And which one of those do you want to, you said selling.
You said selling, yes.
Great. And let me tell you something. I'm guessing, Stephanie, that you're not in love with the selling part. Is that right?
100%.
Okay. So let me tell you how I look at it. Okay. I look at it, I'm just talking to gals. Okay. And guess what? I like to talk to gals. And that's genuinely, by the way, I am anti-script. I am let's push the pain points. We're women. We know how, which is, by the way, I think that's all ridiculous. We're women. We know how to talk to people. Hey, my friend, how you doing? How's it going? How would you like to where would you like to upgrade? Okay. Or are you interested in upgrading this, this, and this? Because that's what I help gals with. Okay, great. Well, if you're interested in speaking or selling or doing retreats, I'm your gal. Let's talk about it. If you're interested in you know, how to do email campaign, let me refer you to my friend. You're interested in building your marketing funnel, let me refer you to my friend. Okay? We're just talking to gals. And the more we can, and by the way, but here's the thing. There's two kinds of potential clients. There's show me potential clients, and there's prove it to me potential clients. And the way we have show me potential clients is when we build influence before we ask people to buy. And that's why that workshop is so powerful. Because instead of meeting gals and saying, hey, let's connect, when they don't know us at all, say, hey, you want to come to my thing? And like we discussed earlier, nobody's coming to your thing who's not genuinely interested in your thing. Okay? And that's a non-threatening way for the potential client to see if you're the right match for them. And then you schedule the call, or you schedule the call when here's a big super tip. You schedule the call when they say they're coming, you register them for the workshop, and then you schedule the call at that time. Stephanie, great, you're going to join me next week. Okay, bing, bing, bing. Wednesday's the workshop. Let's make a date for Thursday. And here's exact language I use, so I can answer any questions you have. Discuss how our topic applies to your specific business or life. And if you would like, talk about how I can continue to support you. Everybody with me? Okay, you give them 3 hooks for how and I'm going to tell you something. When I started to do this, which unfortunately is only in the last 2 years, not the last 25 years, when I started to do this, I thought I would get a lot of pushback. I thought there was, I don't want to talk to you. Or they would be like, no, I'll just wait, right? I thought I would get a lot of, I'll just wait. Almost no, but maybe 5%. I'll wait till after the workshop. But almost everybody is more than happy because they're not coming if they don't genuinely have a need. Okay. I got a client who teaches how to get over a broken heart. Nobody's going to see her if they don't got a broken heart, right? Okay. Okay, my friends, I'm blessing to be with you. I'm going to give you some links here, if I may, for my upcoming 2 free workshops coming up. One is Thrive with Women's Retreats, and one is Gain Insta Clients with Speaking and Workshops. And you can register here. I'm going to give you the links. And then if you will send me, if you'll put your emails in the chat, Stephanie, I know I have yours. I will go ahead and send you my my workshop on achieving sales bliss. Okay. Because I do want to support you to master your sales. That's going to help you bliss more all over. Okay. And focus on your 5 pillars. And remember, if it's not something you want to master, get some help. Okay. Bing, bing. Any final thoughts, Stephanie or Wendy?
That was fun. I love the topics, Caterina.
Good. And by the way, I got one more thing I want to tell you. I forgot to say, I'm doing a mastermind cruise next year, very affordable for women podcasters, speakers, and business leaders. And I just put that in the chat. It's a $200 discount for Polka Dot Gals. And I would love to talk with you about it, both of you.
Nice.
So
Bing.
fun.
Okay, good. Oh, I'm going to give you a link to my podcast also.
Where did my recording button go? There it is.
Okay. All right. My friend, Stephanie, you're the boss. Have you all had enough for today?